Hello and welcome to English class. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about comma and how it works. So what is a comma? While a period ends a sentence, a comma indicates a smaller break. Some writers think of a comma as a soft pause, a punctuation mark that separates words, clauses, or ideas within a sentence. Use a comma before any coordinating conjunction. And, but, for, or, nor, so, yet that links two independent clauses. I went fishing and I saw a cow. An independent clause is a unit of grammatical organization that includes both a subject and a verb and can stand on its own as a sentence. I went fishing and I saw a cow are both independent clauses and is the coordinating conjunction that connects them. A dependent clause is a grammatical unit that contains both subject and verb, but cannot stand on its own. Like this example. When I went fishing, I saw a cow. If a dependent clause ends the sentence, however, it no longer requires a comma. Only use a comma to separate a dependent clause. When a non-essential word or phrase occurs in the middle of a sentence, it should be set off with a comma. Like this example. Tom's work has been frankly awful. The store, once he finally found it, was very nice. When a word or phrase occurs at the beginning of a sentence, a comma should usually separate it from the main clause. For this example, yes, we expect to attend the party. Honestly, why would you ever do that? To be honest, I didn't enjoy the party. When a word or phrase follows the main clause at the end of a sentence, it should normally be set off with a comma. Let's look at this example. You will be joining us for dinner, won't you? We will not be attending the party. We will not be attending the class, however. When a sentence ends with an adverb that is essential to the meaning of the sentence, the verb should not be set off with a comma. We took the train instead. Let's talk about commas, sentence structure. Understand the four common sentence types. We have compound, simple, complex, and compound complex. Let's start with compound complex. Let's start with compound sentence. A compound sentence contains two or more independent clauses linked by a coordinating conjunction. Independent clauses are those that can stand as alone as complete sentence. The most coordinating conjunctions are and, but, and, or, in certain, but in certain cases not yet or so. I lost my job, so I can't afford to go to London this summer. Let's look at simple sentence. A simple sentence contains only one independent clause and no dependent clauses. When a simple sentence contains a conjunction, you might be tempted to insert a comma before the conjunction as you do with a compound sentence. Do not use a comma before a coordinating conjunction. If the sentence contains only one independent clause. As example, are you traveling in first class or in business class? Now let's look at complex sentence. A complex sentence contains an independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. A dependent clause, unlike an independent clause, cannot stand on its own as a complete sentence. The conjunctions and the preposition most commonly used to introduce a dependent clause include if, because, while, as, although, since, and unless. If the independent clauses comes before the independent clause, separate it with a comma. If John can't see without his glasses, he shouldn't be driving. Now compound complex sentence. Let's take a look at that. A compound complex sentence contains two or more independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. In English grammar, a compound complex sentence is a sentence with two or more independent clauses and at least one dependent clause, also known as a complex compound sentence. The compound complex sentence is one of the four basic sentence structures. When a sentence begins with a dependent clause that applies to two independent clauses, that follows insert a comma after the independent clauses, but do not insert a comma between the independent clause. As example of a compound sentence, this house is too expensive and that house is too small. This sentence is a compound sentence because it has two independent clauses. This house is too expensive and that house is too small. Separate by a comma. A dependent clause contains a subject and a verb, but no complete thought. For example, after Tom wrote his first novel last year, seems like it makes no sense. Like it does not give us any reason to understand. And let's look at the independent clauses. Contains subject, a verb, and a complete thought. For example, Tom wrote his first novel last year, which makes perfect sense. Hope you enjoy the lesson and see you in the next video.